Oh, cool. What's up? I'm checking out the software. How's everybody doing? Yeah, howdy. How you doing? How you doing? People rolling in. I'm at the. I'm at the. This is pretty cool. It's still like low pro. Roll. That's the original real. I'm hanging out with the pugs. How's everybody doing? It's cold. Hope you guys driving with a broken hand. That is not good to be driving with a broken hand. Oh, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Oh, stop it. Get away. My pugs are killing me. Hope everybody's having a really good day. I hope your broken hand heals. I know exactly what driving with a broken hand is like. I am driving with a messed up leg right now, and it's not fun at all. I'm just trying out the software again. Me and Frank went live last night. You should see the neighbor's face. That's how I broke it. Ooh, this is Michael. I know it is. It's crazy. This new software. I can't really see the names that are coming up for some reason, but I can see the questions and what people are doing and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. I'm kind of playing with it. I wanted to go live for a little bit and just see how the software works. I wanted to try it from the page and just get out there. I wanted to talk and just talk about. I've been getting lots of calls lately, and I hope everybody's doing really well. And I hope everybody loved the show last night that me and Frank did with the trucking truth about trucking. We put a lot of details into that show, and we're going to get a lot more stuff going on where we put a lot more networking. Oh, it's Catfish. Catfish broke his hand. I see. I can't see no names. What's up, Catfish? Awesome. Is that your? I see. I think you got a new store with a bunch of stuff over there, man. Furniture and stuff, or stoves and stuff. It's pretty cool. It was a great show. And me and Frank are really excited to be able to start doing that show every Wednesday night again. We're going to be doing it every Wednesday at 8 o'clock and different topics. We bought new software to keep going up because the industry really needs some great information that's put out there. But I put up some new dates. A lot of people have been calling me because the boot camps aren't open. It's amazing. When the boot camps are open, people weren't calling because of the economy, the recession. Now the boot camps are closed. Now the boot camps are closed. They're not on my site. We have the one broker one. Everybody's calling because they're like, oh, what dispatching training? I need broker training. No, it's Michael who broke the hand. I got it. Okay, Michael broke the hand when he brought his truck home and the neighbor was crazy. Catfish. Just chilling. All right, cool. All right, I can't see names, but I can see the comments, guys. So comment away if you want to, if you have questions. Because I've been getting questions since the show last night about boot camps, dispatch training, broker training, and stuff like that. We have the broker training still up for December, and we have our brokerage that's running really cool. We're getting ready to do customers and have customers, but I wanted to come on live on all the channels and just do a test run and answer some questions about in-person training. You know, we do a lot of things are crazy right now with dispatching, dispatchers, the freight, the ports, the markets, the load boards, and everything in between, right? And everybody, some people are starving. People are selling their trucks. People are going out of business. This software right here is called EveMux. I used to use BeLive. Thanks, guys. Shaggy's the man. Shaggy's the legend. You guys are crazy. I'll put your comments up. Software we're using is EveMux. And EveMux. It's a cool software. So me and Frank are going to be going live. We're going to be using this software. We set up a YouTube channel. We're setting up different things. Like next week, we're going to be talking about next Wednesday's show is going to be networking, and we're going to go step by step over the processes of what a trucking company should do to survive in the industry now, how they should network, what they should expect, what they should expect. What they should expect, and all those things that are involved, because a lot of people are still coming in. Looks like I'm going to be using Riverside for my podcast. That's cool. I've seen a lot of different softwares. But we're getting after the show. I wanted to come on and then test out the software, but really discuss some problems with answer some questions that I'm getting from the show last night about boot camps and stuff like that. So me and Frank are devoting to doing the show and being able to change the industry with some truth about trucking and some great information. We did the show every Wednesday night for like 3 years straight, got away from it and stuff. You guys see Velma here. She's a brat. Oh my gosh. And we did the show, and on the show, people were sending lots of questions about a lot of the topics that we talked about, which there's a lot of information we put out. And it was really awesome because we've pretty much done everything known to man in trucking between the two of us. I mean, Frank could tell you stories that he hasn't even opened up yet that I know about, but he don't like to share stuff unless he wants to and stuff like that. So I'll leave that for him. But everybody's calling about what I'm doing in training. And all I'm doing right now in training, because we're opening the insurance, we're doing the insurance, and we're working with doing the compliance company, and we're working on the brokerage. We were doing the dispatching, and we're still doing the dispatching, but we're more doing it diverted to the customers that we're going to be bringing in. So we started out networking, building our email list, in our campaigns, and they're actually over there in GoToMeeting working right now. There's a team of some of the best people you ever meet, like Amanda, Tyson, Jewel, Isaiah, Kyle, Kathy, Tammy, Dom, and Driven, and all those guys, and they are hammering it out, working like crazy. Have we been able to help everybody so far? No, we're not the best. Some guys have came with problems so far in that we can't handle. Some have, but we're building it. We're in the fight just like you guys are, right? Load boards suck. Freight volumes are down. Ports are low. Fuel prices are up. Christmas is coming up next week. Thanksgiving's on Thursday. And everything's crazy. Me and my boy, too, at some point. Yeah, and we got more people coming in too, like Michael says. As we had to go down because I had to get it figured out and get it under control. But soon we will be adding more people to the company and making it bigger. We need to get the operations. I started like 25 people and worked all the way down to 9. And it's really, really going. I got Kyle working on the insurance. I got Isaiah and Amanda working on the brokerage. We're working on compliance, and we're doing the documents, paperwork in order, and a lot of stuff. But for me, I still love training, right? And I know everybody's in hard times, and I see all these people out here still YouTubing and everything, and it's great. But but I'm still focusing on the in-person training. I want to focus on in-person training because I want people to be able to come to me and to make sure that we're doing the work we need. I want people to be able to do the phone calls. I want people to learn how to talk. I want people to learn how to do the networking. I want people to learn how to do the research and how to find the shippers and how to find the receivers, how to make the phone call, find the lanes, understand the volume that they're going to be able to take care of. I want them to understand the difference. You'd be surprised how many people are still in trucking business right now that because of the way they run their business, they don't understand how to even add on owner operators. They think they're crazy and the risk is too high. You know how many people that don't understand cost? But they understand cost. And Isaiah's, yeah, and they understand cost. They don't understand cost. And, most people out here, it's funny because I'll bring people into my in-person, right? And I'll ask them how much they need, and they'll talk about $3 to $5 a mile. My leg's swelling today, so I'm at home. They'll be talking about $3 to $5 a mile, right? And before some of you guys even got in trucking, you and your wives worked a job, right? You went to the job. And when you worked at the job, you got paid hourly or salary, right? Didn't you? You did, right? What's up, guys? I see you said Shagster there. They got hourly. You got paid hourly at a job, or you didn't, right? You got paid hourly as salary. Some people even got commission, but they still knew what they were making, right? You still knew you were going to make. If you had commission, did you go to a job and work commission? And when you did that job, you're just hoping you had money at the end of the year? If you did, you didn't do it very long, right? If you did, you did it all. So everybody has a job, right? So when you go and buy, it's the funniest thing because when people come to my class, I ask, how do you survive without a paycheck every week? And a paycheck is a check that you receive after Michael Collier pays the company, pays the lease purchase, pays the fuel, pays the breakdowns back, pays the escrow, and all that stuff. Then it's what he gets to survive money for his wife and his kids so that way they can survive, right? It's not what we think we're worth, it's the paycheck. Because when you go to a job and you get paid $60,000 a year, that's what you get, $60,000 a year. And then you go home and you regulate your bills off $60,000 a year. We would love to make $100,000 a year, but we figured out that at this job, they're only giving us 60 or 43 or 50. So then if your wife goes and gets a job, they make $60,000 a year, right? So that's 120. So many people keep coming into trucking and they don't have a plan at all. And I do this all the time in my office and in person. We literally sit down and break the numbers because we're putting a plan of business together. Like a lot of people that come to my office, they're either established in a trucking company or they're just getting ready to start. And the ones I like to start because I get to pull the reins back on them and say, hold up, buddy, let's figure this out for a minute. Why are you jumping and quitting your job when you don't have the freight yet? Why are you quitting and going to get your authority when you haven't even figured out what you're going to need or who you're going to work for or how you're going to make the paycheck? So what I like to always explain to people when they're in my consulting is, what is your paycheck? You know, because if you have a truck, you have a truck payment weekly. Hope your leg heals up. Man, I hope my leg heals up too. It's getting better, but therapy yesterday is pretty bad. Let's see here. Therapy was pretty rough. So you need a paycheck, right? So let's talk about this, guys, where people get caught up. And where they get caught up is by living over their means or influence or load boards or brokers or dispatchers promising what they really can't do because they're all dictated by somebody else, right? So let's talk about you in general, you the trucking company, right? So the first problem I see a lot of times in business is you have to understand what you actually need to make, right? Not what you want, not what you think you're worth or what you think you're leaving on the table or what brokers you think are taking from you because you don't have customers yourself. What do you need to make? And it always blows me away because we're like, if you could pay your truck, trailer, fuel, insurance, and put away $50,000 to $70,000 or more a year that has nothing to do with your paycheck, what would you want paid? What kind of salary were you getting when you had your job before you got the authority? Or before you bought a truck and put a driver in as an investor? Or before you opened an authority and put owner-operators in? What was your check that you needed? How did you figure that up before you started, right? And so everybody's asked in persons, what do we do at my office? Well, we sit down with the husband and wife. We go over trucking. We go over the story. We go over the terminology. And we go over your plan. And then we figure out what you're going to want to pay your bills or your money. Because you think about it. If you go out there and you have $2,500 to $3,000 or $2,000 to $3,000 in fuel, that has to be paid, right? But until the truck runs, it's not an expense yet. But the expenses is the truck payment divided by 4, the trailer payment divided by 4 a week. You could do it monthly, but you need to do it weekly. The insurance divided by 4, even not in just 10 months, all 52 weeks, because you have to put a down payment down next year. So you got to calculate that across the board, because if you don't have the down payment pulled out ahead of time when your insurance renews, that's why you're always running behind, because you didn't save ahead. And when it's due, you're like, fuck, I got to put $3,000 to $4,000 down again. I wasn't expecting that. Then why the hell didn't you have it in your plan, right? So if you take the $350 a week, if you take it for insurance or more, some guys are $300 to $600. I'm on here live. Okay, $300 to $600 a week, right? For insurance. Some guys are $500 to $1,000 a week just for a truck payment. And then, so you start taking these numbers. And then if you have a driver, right, that you're paying, that's, just say the driver wants $2,000 a week. Well, what would that driver cost you if your truck wasn't running? Would he be good with $900? So basically what we're looking at, right? So you got so always ask people if they could pay their truck, put away $1,500 or whatever a week for fixed costs and escrow. It has nothing to do with their paycheck. Pay their insurance and everything you need, what would you want? What would your paycheck need? What would you want? Do you want 2,000 for your family a week? That's 8,000 a month or more. Would you want 2,500 a week? Because all these people out here are thinking they're worth more. They're leaving it on the table. The broker's taking too much. But are you really making the paycheck that you need after your truck, escrow, and everything? And God help us, man. Everybody's going to say, well, there's always those weird things that happen. I get it, man. Your DEF system blows up 14 times. The motor goes up after you fix a turbo and a clutch. Everybody has some kinds of bad luck, right? And that's why you think you have to make more to count for those bad times. But most people aren't doing what they really need, because if I needed 7,500, that's 2,500 for me. 2,000, 2,500, that's five. And then I put away 1,500 truck trailer, give or take, right? That usually comes out with the one truck authority right now, $7,200 to $8,000. So if I'm doing 250 to 70, 275 a mile, some guys are at 230. And you're thinking about it, well, that's not enough. Well, that's because you have a one truck authority mindset that's in your head, that you can't understand past that because you have no diversity. That's not our fault, you know. So when we do in-person trainings, we talk about this, because if you're only one truck, that's all you are. What if the extra's not out there? How do you make your paycheck like you're going to when you lose your truck and you go get a job? When you go get a job, you're back down to 1,500 to 2,500 a week. When you become an owner-operator in a real-life world, you're at 15 to 25 to 3,000 a week. So why wasn't that in your minimum plan whenever you had your authority? Because you're going to go back there and you were there before, and when the economy changes and you're like, well, how do I make more than that? Well, then you learn how in my class to grow your company. But first you have to understand your product, what you really need as a paycheck 50 weeks at a time. And how will we do that? How will we do that? In my class that we do in person, we talk about, before you start, where will you find the freight to make you that 250 a mile empty and loaded on average? Or if you have a driver in a truck, 330 or 3. No one will ever be the same. That's why that Asian Ming Ding guy out there that's talking about he's crying in his truck because he worked for his daddy's moving company for whatever he did, that's now out there saving the world for us, you know, wants to do transparency. What will transparency help when everybody has a different cost? What's the government going to take 1.5, 2 million trucking companies and look at all their drivers and analysis what they all need to live, and go out there and set the perfect fucking number, and then go tell all the customers and brokers out there that you have to pay these guys this much? You guys really think that shit's going to happen? I figured mine for bi-weekly on my spreadsheet because that's how I get paid. You can do it bi-weekly either way, but it's still when you're running, it's still going to be a weekly basis. I mean, you could do bi-weekly, but you still need to know what you're doing. So if it's bi-weekly, you're just doubling it times 2. It doesn't matter. But so in our in-person training, when you guys bring 2 people to my office, we spend 2 days a week, 2 days out of the week, and it's a free-for-all on all this stuff. And usually we start out understanding the story of who's involved, why are you doing what you're doing, and then we put a plan together and we figure out what your cost is, what kind of equipment you're going to run, and then we move on to the process of making that money. Of making that money. I don't even know who the guy is. I ain't never seen him. The only time I've ever seen that Asian guy was with Trucker G on it live one time. I don't even know. I remember I seen him 2 or 3 times when he was driving a semi-truck. Now I don't know what the hell he does, but I just see him when he's doing the transparency shit and he's going to OIDA and DC, and I'm like, how did that guy end up representing us? I mean, at least go get some guy that's been in the trucking industry like 40 years, that's ran like hundreds of trucking companies, not me, that knows what it's like to have 300,000 or 400,000 trucks and all this other stuff before you pick some random guy that just has a bunch of followers. You know what I mean? That's not right. That's not good for anybody, man. That's not good for your business plan to fall, because he ain't bailing you out for shit. Nothing. It's like that guy that disappeared, Santiago guy or whatever the hell it was, that started that one strike, and then he was there one day and I think he got arrested for child support or something. I don't know. Whatever happened to him, right? But the idea is, and who cares about those people anyways, because when it's all said and done, those guys talk, Michael Collier's show or even mine, or me or Frank's show. It doesn't matter. Or E-Carrier Check, Jared's show will be on tomorrow. It doesn't matter because they're not paying your bills. You are. You're the one that's in charge of your bills or your plan. So what is your plan? Like, how are you not only understanding what you need, where are you going to get it from? If the load boards suck, how much research and networking are you doing to make sure you get that 230, 250, 350, whatever a mile? Funny thing is, Shaggy, is that I see all these drivers on Facebook complaining about how brokers are. Let me put this out here. Funny thing is, I see all these brokers out here on Facebook complaining about how brokers are making too much money and they are stealing from us drivers. Say no to cheap freight is all I hear online anymore. What you're talking about now is what those people need to get educated on, and they can complain about freight costs. It's exactly true. I mean, we're sitting here trying to lead the way, me and Frank telling people on these shows and these platforms and in my in-person trainings, I get the boot camps are really hard because people come from all different walks of life and they got crammed with high-tech information into a webinar. And it's so much easier to go take a self-paced, easy go as you go reading that stuff. And when you're on Facebook world, you look at these one truck authorities and you look at all these guys out here yelling about these brokers they're being regulated by customers, because customers aren't stupid. They got freaking load boards. They have people all day long calling them, telling them what they can move freight for different than the next guy. Don't think just because that they're not. These guys have software and everything. The problem isn't the brokers or the customers. The problem is you networking. Me and my team of all those great people I talked about have been doing email blasts to all these brokers, and we find rates that you guys don't see on the load boards. Not that we're still a good dispatcher or we're savior. We're not, because we still have to go to load boards anyway. I'm just telling you, in emails, there is tons and tons of freight out there at 230, 275 a mile. But if you're a lease purchase guy doing self-dispatch at farm to fleet and some guy's taking 25% out of your pay, then you got $1,000 truck payment and you got this trailer payment and your fuel's $3,000 and your cost is $9,000. How is that a customer or broker's problem when the economy is messed up? When if you had the knowledge and you were willing to do the research, you could go find stuff that you could be able to run. But then again, how do you do it while you drive? Because I know those dispatching services that get on the load board are going to save you, right? Those are the ones that are saving you because they know how to do all this work from their self-paced dispatching course. To start off at the point of those dispatching guys, look at their fucking ads. Like, they're all the same. 24-hour dispatch. We do the invoicing for you. We're always available. We negotiate the best rates. Well, if a driver that knows his own cost and knows how he wants to run, knows his hours of service, knows when he needs to pull over and sleep, and knows all that stuff, he makes those calls and he don't even know how to negotiate those rates. How is a dispatcher going to do it any better when they don't even understand half the stuff that's going on, let alone the maps, lanes, and seasons, and they have no relationships? They have a couple brokers. They don't. You have to take time to be able to do this. You have to pull your truck over. You have to be able to build a network. Once you build a network, then they're going to provide you this freight, and you're going to be able. It's a long story. I don't even want to get into that on this thing. But anyways, it's back to, I just wanted to come on and talk about understanding your cost and then going out there and putting the leads together to get it for what you're actually worth. All these guys out here are out there, and suddenly, because you got your fucking authority or you became a truck driver, you're like, how are you any better? Because if you're making $1,800 a week as a truck driver right now, or $2,000 or $2,500, how many hours? And you're like, well, I'm away from home, or I'm working 80 to 120 hours a week. What the fuck do you think you're going to do when you lose your trucking company because you didn't have a plan, and you go back and get the job where you're working 15 hours a day, 2 jobs at $20 an hour, right? Times 40 hours a week is how much? Times 2. 20 times 40. Or even 30 times 40. What is that? Times 2. And you don't think you're going to see your wife? You're like, well, I'm still sleeping in bed. Well, you ain't seeing your wife. Or you only got 6 hours, no different than when you're sleeping in the truck. You get 5 minutes. What about on the weekends? You're not going to have no time because you're still running. What is the difference? What is the difference? Please tell me. What is the difference? If you fail at this trucking because you didn't put a plan together, understand your paycheck and your cost of operations, then what is the difference when you quit and you go back to work for somebody else? You're still going to be getting a paycheck. Will that paycheck be consistently? When your job, you're going to work 80 hours a week, maybe more. Don't you know how to do the math? Technically, you really don't need to be a broker if you know your cost and where you need to be at to build your bank. How did they do it back before computers and load boards? Word of mouth, marketing yourself, and roll. You know it, dude. I remember back when I was a teenager, I used to work at the 76 Rain Dancer truck stop as a dishwasher. Then I moved up to cook over in Mount Vernon, Illinois, where I grew up. And those guys used to do it by payphone. And that was back when Get Loaded had to or dial a truck, back on that one screen where you're like, hey, kid, can you hold the phone for me? I got to run over and get that load number. You know what I mean? That's how it was back then. You know what I mean? It was like, you remember the stories like the guy down here at Hoosier Transportation and all these companies around here where they used to have the whiteboards on there and put the sticky notes on the wall to match up the drivers, and all that good stuff. It wasn't like it is now. So much easier. And there is no difference. There's no difference at all. Hey, can you guys hear me all right? Like, is this software cool? You guys like it? It's better than that Be Live stuff, right? I even got a new camera for my computer at the office and a microphone. So when we go live, putting out more details, we got networking stuff coming up. Tomorrow we'll be on eCarrierCheck.com's YouTube stage, me and Frank. We're going to change the whole industry on putting out truth about trucking information and lay out the secrets all these other guys too lazy to put out because they want to hear you the stupid stuff. I love these new videos about people coming out and they're doing Q&As like, you should call shippers and just ask them what they need. Yeah, you're not going to do that. Excellent. Much better than the last few lives. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So things that we do in in-person training where you come to my office are a lot of what I'm talking about today. We go over the fundamentals, we understand a plan, we put it together, and then we lay it out, you know what I mean, on each typical section of it. You don't have to be, why brokers have went way crazy? Because back in the day, like, I don't know who that was talking on there, brokers, the reason why a carrier becomes a broker is because he doesn't want to work for brokers. He wants to go after customers. And when he goes after customers, the customer has more freight than what he can handle. So what he does is he goes and he has to find other carriers to assist him to maintain that customer. Because if you don't, pieces of shit like TQL come in and take your customer when markets change because you can't provide enough service. And then you just start calling people cheap brokers and all that stuff because you can't get customers yourself. But it's really, you can't provide and maintain and service customers. Other people just become brokers because all they want to do is sell rates. They don't want no carriers. And they know that carriers won't get together. We can't work together. Transparency won't stop nothing. How is transparency going to help you whenever none of us can get along? None of us. Tell me how it's going to work. They ain't going to do anything. The only thing transparency is going to do is fuck up the system and give technology another reason to kick our asses out. Learn how to run your business. Stop listening to the YouTubers that have no fucking clue and guys that own one trucking companies out there trying to give you advice. It won't change anything. And learn how to build a product. Learn how to understand your costs. Learn how to make your paycheck. And if you want a bigger paycheck, then start running a company where you provide jobs or careers to other people to come on for an expense so you can diversify. Is this hard to get? If you're a one truck guy, you could only make so much. You're not worth no more than your paycheck. Anything that you make over your paycheck's what we call a bonus. Just like when you had a job before you got your authority, the only way you made extra money is by doing odd jobs, investing in something, playing the lottery, or getting a bonus. Otherwise, you have to build a business and you have to understand it, how to do it. That means buying trucks, renting truck, whatever your story is. So, anyways, hey, I'm not going to keep preaching because that's for me and Frank's shows on Wednesday night. Guys, I'm Frank and Shaggy's show. I just wanted to come on and tell you guys we have a lot of in-person trainings open. We have November 28th and 29th open on Monday and Tuesday. We have December 5th and 6th open. And we have 12th and 13th open of December. And then we are sold out on the first week and the second week of January. But we have the third week of January, the fourth week of January. I think it's like 25th and 76th. And we have those are our training. You get to come to me. You get to work in person, build a map, and start putting together a plan or fix the company you're in trouble with already. Don't leave your guys self in trouble. Guys, don't leave yourself left behind. And take advantage of all these opportunities you have with this industry. And it's like, here's one more thing for you. You guys, and please share this video all over the place. If I was to open a trucking company right now, or if I was in the trucking company where it's messed up and you're caught up, same thing. Like if you're one of those guys that was running high on the hog, like you were like 6 months ago and everything was great, there was brokers all over the place, you could find a load like that, and it's all gone. And your dispatchers left you hanging, or if you're a new trucking company coming in. First off, if I was a new trucking company in and I was employed, I would stay employed as an owner-operator or the driver until I got my truck. I would file the authority, wait 21 days. And then after the 21 days, in between that time, I would start using eCarrierCheck.com, print off a list, start calling as many brokers as I can, which I'll tell you next week, and then build my work before I start so I know what I have, and then I would understand my cost. If I was already in the industry, I would just take this next holidays, because this next week, pull myself back, stop, understand why I'm missing stuff that I wasn't getting, and see where I'm at, like the $3 and $4 and $5 a mile, and I look at my situation. Now, if you guys are already overpriced on your equipment, your debt's too high because you spent too much, you got left hanging by drivers and equipment and all that stuff, God bless you guys. I hope you can pull through it. It's going to be hard. Hope you can do things. But for you guys that haven't messed up yet, or you're not that far behind, there's a lot of things that you can do right now to change your situation involving networking and stuff like that. If you guys want to learn what to do and how to start over real quick before it's too late, because everything you thought for the last 3 years wasn't real, was real, but it's really not, and you're learning 2008's here all over again, but worse, then let's get together. Call me up at shaggysconsulting.com. My phone number's all over the place, 812-870-2039. And, man, let's get this shit changed. You know what I mean? Come see me in person. Spend a couple days with me. I know everybody's like, well, man, I can't take time off. I need to make money. Well, even if you don't take time to fix it, are you even going to be here when you want to? Are you still grasping for that last stretch? There's so much contract freight that's still out there, things that are happening. People aren't starving yet. Things are still moving. People are still ordering. It's just the masses of people that don't have a plan and don't understand their cost and don't have and are not working it week to week at a time. It's day to day and load to load. I get it, guys. You're not going to be here. You're gone. Just go ahead and sign your ticket. Probably 90 to 100,000 authorities just in the last 3 months. Gone. Anyways, hope you guys like the new software. We're getting it. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. And except for I can't see the names over here. That's the only thing I don't like about it is the names on the side. Take care of yourself. Have a really great weekend. And don't forget to check us out on eCarrier Check's live video tomorrow at 11. We'll be there, me and Frank. And guys, if you need help with your business, just call 812-870-2039. Let's talk. Let's see if you're a good fit for an in-person. Call. Let's talk and see why you're not networking. Let's talk and see if you're leaving something that you don't understand on the table. You know, you're like, man, I've been in this business forever. Yeah, I used to think that too until I worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Probably, everybody's like Facebook and stuff. If I say off the wall numbers that I've worked with thousands of carriers and flags, but even though I have, and you guys know I have, but so I don't want to get myself in trouble, right? Anyways, guys, share the videos. You don't understand what lost runs are? I'll give you an example of lost runs. So lost runs are whenever, so and this is a big killer, right? Because when you work with insurance companies, it pisses me off, right? All these insurance companies, they drive me nuts. And with us, with Melissa being licensed, she's in another room. She does all our insurance things. So I just talk about it a little bit, but I can't give policies or any of that stuff. All I can do is give you advice. So it pisses me off about insurance those companies and even the ones I've worked with because you know they sell policies and they promote progressive and they do emails and they're always quick to give you a quote. Like you get your authority and the first thing they do is shove a quote, you know what I mean, down your throat. And then they tell you gotta hurry. It's the best rate since sliced butter. They don't tell you about hiring location. They don't tell you about fleet status. They don't tell you about the minute that you get your authority, they're going to help you have drivers, but all they do is run an MVR and a background check. So lost runs is a big thing, right? So when you do renewals, almost every renewal, they need to see your lost runs. So what lost runs is anything that an insurance company has to pay out on your behalf, like brake damages, wrecks. For example, here's a big one. Trucking companies get hard up and they go bring on owner operators. When they bring on owner operators, they have owner operators that lease on. And when owner operators lease on, they may or may not have the owner operator provide bobtail insurance, either through them or not. Sometimes when they provide it through them, they have a problem that they do their insurance on the physical damage and stuff because they think it's a better way to do it. Maybe they get a better rate if they have more trucks. So then the owner operator or driver is out on their own and they end up killing somebody on their own time or vice versa. And what happens is when the insurance company pays out for that owner operator that's either dispatched on a load or he's on his own time, but he's on your insurance, not his bobtail and physical, those lost runs they have to pay out fall on your company. So, or if you have damage to freight or anything that they have to pay out, those are called lost runs, you know, just like with a factoring company. Anything that's overaging or anything that happens with a factoring company that somebody else doesn't pay, it's like bad things that happen or well, that's not a good comparison. Lost runs, anything that's paid out. So they want to report to that because the more lost runs you have or more things they have to pay out, they need to know what your history is and they do their quote based off that. It makes it longer. So it's lost runs. But there's a lot of things that lead up to lost runs, and that is compliance and safety. Understanding PSP reports and how to hire the right drivers. You know how many people out there, guys, still, if you ask them today, how do you hire a driver? Well, when I use a company, what we do is, first thing we do is we interview that guy. And the next thing we do is we call up our insurance company and give them the information. They check their MBR background. Then we check references. Yep. Once we got the references, we do about a 2-hour. They get approved as long as they got 2 years experience. We get approved and we throw them in a truck right after orientation. It drives me nuts about that. That is like my biggest pet peeve because if they have no tickets, I get it, right? Okay, great. But what your guys are getting in trouble for is safety scores, bad drivers. And every driver in the last 3 years has a report card. And on that report card, it should be required by law that you understand how to read a report card. And MVR, background, and reference checks are 3 out of the 4 of the report card. CSA score is the rest of it. And if every driver, the way they talk, the way they act, and the way they represent themselves cannot be what their report card says. Because some guys can shit a gold turd, man, talk a guy out of an Eskimo out of his own ice and everything. But the report card doesn't lie. I don't care what story you say, the DOT officers cheated you wrong. you had an emergency, you needed to get the load delivered, the company you work for's equipment sucked, and you had to put up with it because they tied a rope around your neck and forced you. It's still, there's a story and it's a report card. And your trucking company is important. This is why I hate insurance companies that don't know the system and all they do is want to sell rates and policies as fast as the next guy, because the growth of a trucking company, the longevity of the trucking company, and them making money and hiring the right drivers is the most important, because an insurance guy loses his money if you don't stay in business. So wouldn't you think this is important to you, right? It's important, right? To me, it's important. I would think it's important. I hate it. But you don't, if I was to talk to 100 carriers a day that have insurance company, you ask them, every time they have a driver, do they go over the driver with you and tell you about their safety score and what they do and how bad the driver is? I just let you pick them. Whenever the renewals come up, do they do outline plans and safety plans and make sure you're doing it? Now, some companies do. Some companies do that. Some do. Like when you get bigger, like we used to have Century Insurance, and they used to send an auditor out to us like every 6 months, right? But our insurance was like $3,000 a year per truck. Hell, most of you guys don't even know what that's like, you know what I mean? And that was in 17. And see, it takes volume, understanding the loss it runs, hiring the right drivers with no flags, and doing all these different things perfectly done to be able to get those kind of insurance quotes. But do you guys do it? Do you guys really spend that much time analyzing your stuff like you do your taxes? Every driver? You don't. Your compliance don't. Foley's and all these other companies, they don't do this with you. They run your file, it's done. They do this, it's done. They send you an alert, it's done. There's no extra. Half the guys at Foley's, I'm like, hey, what are you doing with them? Or this company here, they're like, oh, we talked to them within a year. When do you talk to them? When an audit comes up? Do you really think this is your business? This is like understanding your report card. So if you guys want to learn about a lot of this stuff and you want to be prepared for this stuff and you want to have a safety department, you want to do the compliance, you want to learn about the Mabel drills and how to put all the process together because you're scared about losing your lifetime investment, share the video and let people know that we're here for you. You know what I mean? We want to help you. Come to an in-person training. Come see me in Terre Haute, Indiana. Spend 2 days with me and we'll be glad to help you. Have a great day. See you guys tomorrow at 11 Eastern. I didn't even mean to get this far in because we swore we were only going to do it at 8 o'clock. So I just wanted to check out the software a little more and see what's going on. Guys, have a great day. Be good. See you soon. Bam. We're out of here. How do I end it? Oh, yeah, right there.